Ever wondered how to make a delightful dessert using all types of berries, jello and pudding? Well, you're in the right place. Today we're crafting a truly unique treat, an exquisite fusion of the fruity goodness of berries, the playful wobble of jello, and the creamy richness of pudding. This is not your average dessert. It's a journey of flavors and textures that will take your taste buds on an adventure they won't soon forget. This dish, that we like to call Berry Delight, is not only a feast for the palate, but is also surprisingly simple to whip up. You don't need to be a professional pastry chef to make this. With just a handful of ingredients and a few easy-to-follow steps, you'll be creating a dessert that looks as amazing as it tastes. So strap on your apron and get your mixing bowl ready. Get ready to impress your friends and family with this easy and delicious dessert. Before we dive into the preparation, ensure you have all the necessary ingredients ready. First and foremost, we'll need an assortment of berries, the stars of our show. Grab a handful each of ripe strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. You may also add in other berries of your choice. It's all about the burst of flavors you desire. Next, for the Jello, we're going to need one small box. Any flavor would do, but a berry flavor will accentuate the berry delight. Then we have the pudding. A small box of vanilla pudding mix will do the trick, adding a creamy contrast to the tangy berries. We'll also need a 1/4 cup of sugar to sweeten things up a bit. And lastly, you'll need 1 cup of water for the Jello and pudding preparation. With everything in place, it's time to start making our delightful dessert. Our first step involves preparing our star ingredient, the berries. The beauty of this recipe lies in the natural sweetness and vibrant colors of the berries. So it's essential to use fresh berries to get the most out of this delightful dessert. Let's start by washing our berries. This step is crucial to remove any dirt or pesticides that might be on the surface. You don't need any special washes or solutions, just a gentle rinse under cold water will do the trick. Remember, we want to keep the berries as natural and fresh as possible. Next, we need to dry the berries. You might be tempted to skip this step, but trust me, it's worth the extra time. Wet berries can make our dessert soggy, and nobody wants that. Gently pat the berries dry with a clean kitchen towel or paper towels. Now it's time for the fun part, cutting the berries. Depending on the berry type, you might leave them whole, or you might need to slice them. For strawberries, for instance, we'll hull them and then slice them into thin, even slices. And for smaller berries like blueberries and raspberries, we can leave them whole. Remember, the goal here is to get even pieces that will distribute evenly throughout our dessert. And there you have it. Our berries are washed, dried and cut, ready to star in our berry delight. With our berries ready, we can move on to the next step. Now it's time to bring in the Jello. The magic of Jello is in its simplicity. It's a dessert that's been loved by generations, and today we're going to add our own twist to it. So let's start. First things first, we need to get some water boiling. While our water is heating up, let's take a moment to appreciate the vibrant color of our Jello powder. This is going to add a delightful burst of color to our dessert. Once the water's boiling, it's time to introduce it to our Jello powder. Pour the boiling water into a bowl containing the Jello powder. Now here's where your patience comes into play. Stir the mixture gently but persistently. The goal here is to make sure that every grain of the Jello powder dissolves into the water. It's a bit like a symphony, each grain playing its part to create a beautiful, smooth mixture. Once you're satisfied that your Jello mixture is smooth and lump-free, it's time to let it cool. This is an essential step as it allows the Jello to set and gain that familiar wobbly texture we all love. Remember, good things take time. So while our Jello cools and sets, we have the perfect opportunity to move on to the next exciting part of our dessert adventure. As our Jello cools, let's shift our focus to the pudding. While our Jello sets, let's whip up some creamy pudding. Pudding is the velvety layer that makes our berry delight not just a dessert, but a culinary masterpiece. The process is simple, but the result is incredibly rewarding. Start by pouring 2 cups of cold milk into a medium-sized bowl. To this, add your chosen pudding mix. You can choose any flavor that tickles your fancy. Vanilla is a classic choice that pairs well with the berries and Jello, but feel free to get creative. Once you've added the pudding mix to the milk, grab a whisk and start stirring. The transformation from liquid to creamy delight happens gradually, so be patient. The key here is to whisk steadily until the mixture begins to thicken. It's like magic, really. With our pudding prepared, we're now ready for the final steps. You'll be surprised how this simple addition can elevate the entire dessert. Stay tuned because we're about to bring all these elements together. We're now ready to assemble our delightful dessert. You've been patient, you've been diligent, and now it's time for your hard work to pay off as we bring together our vibrant berries, our jewel-like Jello, and our creamy pudding. Let's start with our first layer. Take your chilled dish and gently layer the base with your prepared berries. This fruit base will provide a fresh and tangy contrast to the sweetness that follows. Now, isn't that a sight to behold? Next, it's time to add our Jello. Carefully pour the Jello over the berry layer. This is where the magic happens. As the Jello sets, it will envelop the berries, creating a colorful and textural spectacle. Make sure to spread it evenly so each bite offers a perfect blend of fruit and Jello. Now, let's not forget our pudding. Gently pour it over the Jello layer. The pudding serves as the creamy counterpart to our tangy and sweet layers. It's like adding a touch of velvet to a canvas of colors. And just like that, we've assembled our dessert. But wait, we're not quite done yet. We must now let our dessert chill. This step is crucial. It allows the flavors to meld together and the textures to set just right. So, into the fridge it goes for at least 4 hours or even better, overnight. While you wait, imagine the delight in every bite, the fresh burst of the berries, the sweet, slightly wobbly Jello, and the creamy, smooth pudding. Each layer not only adds its own flavor, but also its own unique texture, making this dessert a feast for the senses. Patience, my friends, is the secret ingredient here. The longer you let the dessert chill, the better the flavors will blend and the more delightful your dessert will be. And there you have it, a delightful dessert using all types of berries, Jello, and pudding. Enjoy.